mad at my husband for cheating. I was stuffing clothes into my suitcase with shaking hands. Every fold of fabric carried years of memories, but all I could see now was betrayal. I wanted to get out of that house before I broke down completely. My heart felt like it had been ripped out, and yet I forced myself to keep packing, determined not to let him see me cry again. The air was heavy with silence, the kind that follows a storm. I could still remember his face when I confronted him about the messages I'd found, how his excuses tumbled out like lies rehearsed 100 times. He had cheated, and the proof was undeniable. That was all I needed to decide I was done. As I zipped up my suitcase, I heard footsteps in the hallway. My first instinct was to ignore it, but then a low murmur reached my ears. He wasn't alone. My husband's voice floated into the room, muffled but clear enough to catch pieces of the conversation. "You think she knows everything," a woman's voice whispered. My hands froze mid-motion, gripping the handle of the suitcase. It wasn't the voice of the woman he cheated with. I would. Vo recognized her instantly. This was someone else, and she sounded nervous. "I had no choice," my husband replied. "If she finds out the real reason, it'll destroy everything." The affair was easier to let her catch. It distracted her from the rest. My blood ran cold. My anger at his cheating was suddenly mixed with confusion. What was he talking about? I stayed quiet, leaning closer to the door, afraid to breathe too loudly. The woman spoke again, her tone sharper now. "You promised me this would be over by now. If she digs deeper, she find out about the money. Do you realize what that means for both of us?" Money, my head spun. My suitcase slid off the bed as I staggered back, pressing a hand against my mouth to keep from gasping. Was my husband hiding something bigger than an affair? "I'm handling it," he hissed. "She's leaving anyway. Once she's gone, I'll have full control, and no one will ask questions. Just keep quiet until then." My chest tightened. Full control of what? Our home, my accounts. I suddenly remembered how he'd been oddly eager for me to stop working last year, insisting he'd take care of everything. At the time, I thought it was love. Now I realized it might have been strategy. The woman's footsteps retreated down the hallway, leaving only my husband standing there. My anger had transformed into something sharper, determination to know the truth. I grabbed my phone and quietly began recording. I needed proof. When he stepped into the room, pretending to look guilty and sad, I wiped my tears and forced myself to act weaker than I felt. "Don't worry," I whispered. "I'll be gone soon." He relaxed, clearly convinced his plan was working. But inside, I was plotting. I wasn't just leaving, I was going to expose him. Whatever scheme he had with that woman, it involved lies, money, and betrayal far worse than just an affair. And now I had a reason not to crumble but to fight back. That night, instead of checking into a hotel, I drove straight to my best friend's place and told her everything. She helped me back up my documents, my bank statements, everything I might need. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, and they painted a picture of a man I didn't even recognize anymore. The next morning, I went to a lawyer. With the recording, the financial evidence I gathered, and the story of his affair, I had more than enough to turn his world upside down. The betrayal still burned, but now I had power. I wasn't just a wife packing her bags in heartbreak anymore. I was a woman who had been deceived, but not defeated. He thought cheating would be the worst thing. I discovered he was wrong. The real truth was coming, and when it surfaced, it would cost him everything he tried so desperately to hide. And for the first time since finding out about his betrayal, I felt something close to relief. He had thought I was broken, but he had no idea what kind of fire he had awakened in me.